What's up, folks? Welcome back to the old Left 4 Dead garage. We are still hammering away on the old Rust Farm Impala. However, this is the first time I got to work on it while it's on the ground, not on jack stands. That's usually how everything is around here at the jack stand gang. But it could probably use maybe about a half a coil cut off the front. I really felt like the front would probably just come on down a little bit with the weight of this motor, but it really didn't. But there it is on the ground. I got a few things to do today. I'd like to drive it today. But the shift linkage is real close. I actually had to grind the valve cover. So, and I may even have to grind it some more because it's super close in there. Then this is your first and reverse rod. It had a big, like a kink in it, and it was hitting the cylinder head. So I had to put it in the vise and straighten it up. And it's had some modifications done anyway. Like it looks like it's been brazed together. And then I probably really need to check that clearance between that clutch arm. Well, the clutch arm has been modified, so it may actually hit because it feels strange like the pedal does. So I need to check that, because if that's hitting, then I've got problems. Now my parts car, this rod somehow or another is nearly like in line with the 2.3 bracket here. As the 2.3 goes into like a bell crank off the frame down there. So, and it does look like it's hitting, but I may have to set the camera up and look at that. I'm sure there'll be bugs I have to work out. I'm running out of days. I should have came down here early this morning, but it just wouldn't happen. So let's see what we can get done today. Hopefully drive this thing. Hang in there. I'll get back to you. One of the things on my to-do list was to put that nut back on that bolt that goes to the throttle arm. I was going to take that arm off and make a new one, and I can't get the bolt out, and I can't get those bolts out. Well, I could probably get them out that holds the bracket to the firewall, but I don't know how I could get them back in. So I think I'm just going to extend the bracket somehow, because the alignment from here to here is seriously awful. So it probably needs to be up here. So I've got to try to get the nut back on that bolt. I've dropped it about 18 times, so I taped it in the wrench. We'll see if we can get it in there. I've kind of realized I went away from the how-to stuff or while I work videos, since I've been so worried about getting this car ready. And that's exactly what I didn't want to do, was just talk about what I've done. But I'll see if I can get back on track here before too long. This is aggravating. Yeah, I couldn't get that bolt out because of the firewall. It went, it's the bolt head toward the firewall, and there's just not enough room to push it out. Yep, got it started. I put a little Loctite on that bolt, or that nut rather, because I didn't want to have to fight with a lock nut and that tight spot down in there. So as long as I don't drop the wrenches a dozen times. Actually, I think that head of that bolt actually goes up in that bracket, so it kind of holds it itself, maybe? I can't remember. But maybe I should have put a washer on there. And turn it back now. Oh, and I do have clutch arm to first and reversed. I also have clutch arm to reverse and first shift rod issues. It does hit, it hits pretty good. I clearanced the valve cover yesterday and I thought I was good, but now it's back rubbing again, so I'm unsure what's moved, but I'm gonna have to grind the valve cover some more. And then maybe have to alright. I need to try to I think those are 3/8, which it's just a few turns backed off. The reason I was going to take, well, one of the reasons, because this thing's so stiff, which I could probably spray it with some sauce and get it moving again. But I wanted to make a new one. But I got a little piece of flat bar. The only problem is I don't think I could get a drill down in there and drill anything so I could bolt an arm to it. So I may have to just use this existing hole and then run a bead across. Use the existing throttle hole. I'll pull that bushing out and bolt it there, and then maybe clean this up and just run a bead across the top to whatever I extend that throttle with. And it may be fine like it is, but the plug wires are pretty seriously in the way. I don't know. I'm gonna throw the rod on there and see what it does, but that may be one of the things that we just have to live with, even if it doesn't have WFO. I don't need to go down there and tear it up anyway. Hopefully I can have some self-control when and if someone says those magic words, or magic word, burnout. Last time that happened at a cruise in, I had a police escort out of the cruise in, but that was many years ago. So alright, let me see what I can do with this throttle rod and we'll get back at it. Alright, we're back on jack stands. Go figure. We have throttle, or
maybe 3/4 throttle. That arm needs to be reclocked on that shaft down there on the firewall. So some way or shape or form, at some point I'm gonna have to do that, because the arm hits the firewall. So, but it's drivable. Dang, mosquitoes. But it would be drivable. Run into some more problems. I'm gonna have something moved. I don't know what's changed. Maybe when I set the car off the jack stands, things settled more. But the 1.2 is now hitting the valve cover again, and my clutch arm is all over that shift rod. Now, you know, I have a parts car, so I went out there. So I went out to the field, jacked up the parts car to see what they had going on, or what was going on with it versus whatever setup we have here. Well, that car has a totally different trans in it. It may be, I'm pretty sure Muncie made a 3-speed, so it is definitely not a Saginaw. If it is a Saginaw, it is not this family of Saginaw that I have. And that may be why this rod was brazed like it is. As you can see, it actually hits the floor. Pretty sure it's in reverse right now. But, and I've always noticed this, I always noticed this torched up clearance on the clutch fork. Well, the clutch fork was clearanced because maybe they've ran this style of trans, and it hits the shift rod. I don't necessarily know if it's enough to where I can't shift it, but it, you know, like it would be enough clutch to get it out of gear. So I got it in the air. I gotta go get some gas because it's out of gas. So I guess I need to try that. If it does go in and out of gear, then, you know, I may just leave it. It's kind of dumb doing all this battle just so I could leave it at 3 on the tree, which I thought was, it would be kind of cool if I left it. What I will not do is spend a bunch of money on a 3-speed shifter. I will stick a 2-lever dirt track shifter in this car for 40 bucks before I spend a couple hundred on a 3-speed shifter, because I am not leaving the 3-speed in this car. As soon as I can find a Muncie I feel good about buying, I'm buying it. So 4-speed Muncie rather. So I really don't want to go through a bunch of hassle here if it's gonna, you know, if it's not gonna be worth it. So, and the column may be so wore out up there that it may not shift as well. I mean, I adjusted it, but so that's where we are at the moment. I thought about leaning the motor, like maybe doing something different with the trans mount, but I'm already into the firewall with the distributor now. So I'm sure by leaning it back it would be worse. I'd like to actually shim this trans up and get that away from the firewall, but that also puts me back into way worse clutch linkage and shift linkage issues. So dilemma, I'm not gonna fight this too much before I just go. Oh, and I found my muffler, so I got $40. I can look at that. Found it. Here's all I can do for exhaust now, and that's another problem. The muffler hits the shift linkage. So look at that. This was still screwed to the 6-cylinder, so it took me a day and a half, but I found it. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna do that's all I can do for exhaust, because it's supposed to come out here. It's supposed to come down and out, and then your muffler's actually sit under floor pan. So, but, and I was graciously, you know, I love gifts, who doesn't? But I was graced by a bunch of good stuff, a bunch of random good stuff a while ago. My buddy Larry, he's cleaning out his shop. Brought me what was left of a 12-point S10 cage. A whole box of goodies. And look at that. 2 3-inch 90s. You know? Maybe I can't run that exhaust out where it's supposed to be. I don't know what else is in this box. Looks like lots of fun stuff though. Alright, I'm gonna go argue with myself on what I don't need to do, but what I want to do, and we'll get it sorted out because I'm running out of time and my wife's probably getting irritated at me being down here all the time. So stay tuned and get back with you. First drive. I don't really know what to say. I guess this is for you, Dad. Bit of rubber there, we might as well break it in right. Yeah. Doesn't run too great. Where the brake fluid went. Well, it wasn't the greatest first ride ever, because for some reason I have no brakes now, which it did have brakes. I don't understand that, which that kind of got a little sketchy. It breaks up when you hammer it wide open. It's running a little warm. Other than that, it runs, drives, steers. Not a whole lot of stopping, but you know, I need a break or a beer or both. Well, it's Wednesday, March 17th. We're supposed to leave tomorrow. Or should I say, we were supposed to leave tomorrow. Actually, let me back up on that. All right, this is a little out of order, but given the current situation, I guess I'll backtrack and cover some stuff that I felt like I videoed, but I don't know what happened to the footage. But worked on the shift linkage basically all day Sunday, and finished up the steering shaft. I actually just went ahead and welded those U-joints in. I didn't really want to do that, but I didn't feel like hauling them back to work. Both manual mills were either set up or had been used for something other than just straight up vertical milling. So, and I was going to mill flats on the shaft and drill and tap for 2 set screws on the slip fit end of these U-joints. So I just welded it to there. I went about a 1/4 inch. Got it, you know, got it burned in pretty good. Went about a 1/4 inch, let it sit, and then just moved down to this side. I did notice I was missing a little lock screw there that I guess holds that little U-joint cap in. But it looks like I'm gonna have to work on that clearance to the valve cover a little bit more. I'll get down there and show you what I did to the rod. It worked out pretty good. Oh, here it is. It worked out pretty good. I didn't have as heavy as a piece of material as I'd like to use, but you know, I guess I could have drove back to work again. But where this thing was hitting the clutch fork was right there. So what I did is I took and bent a piece of round stock and kind of laid it up on there and eyeballed it, make sure it was. Now I did have to beat this little floor seam in some, but I laid it up on the back side of the shift rod and kind of eyeballed it and made sure, you know, it would clear. And then I actually welded it to this before I cut the old piece out. That way I wasn't dealing with, you know, 2 pieces to try to hold together and keep lined up. And then once I welded it, or I tacked it, I put it back on the car, and it cleared the floor, and you know, it looked pretty good here. So then I pulled it back off, and I burned it in pretty good. But so this is probably like 5/16, and this is probably 1/2 inch, but it's not like I can power shift it. So but, I got the exhaust on the car. It worked out for what it was. I had to drop this down a tad so it would clear the shift linkages or shift arms from up there. I actually hate this exhaust. It's convenient. The mufflers look pretty cool because I got the turn down and all on them, but I hate it. It sounds terrible. Not thrilled with it at all. But that's changing. Already changing that. Got a brake fluid leak from somewhere.
Found that out on the first test drive because I didn't have any brakes. So gonna source that. Also didn't film the shocks. Didn't realize that till earlier. I had to cut all the upper bolts off with the Ziz wheel, and look at that one. I apparently missed the nut on that one. So I guess it's glad I rolled back here. I was very surprised that these lower nuts came off. They looked extra crusty. So, but that worked out. So I guess I need to grab a nut and install that. I'm gonna get back on this thing and see what we can accomplish, because it's not looking good. So we're fighting battles here. Well, you got to see the first drive. It's kind of hard to video, you know, like the first up the road, and I videoed what I could, and then luckily the camera did lay in the seat and kind of get me, you know, you could see me going through the gears and whatnot, and hear me make a little racket. You can hear it breaking up some. Timing could have been low. I could be battling ignition issues. I mean, it's not like I bought a new distributor. This distributor's from '64. You know, it did go up the road, and we do have issues. Got some cooling issues. We got a laundry list of things left to do. Honestly, it ain't gonna happen. As you can tell, well, I knew I was tired, but you can tell in the beginning of that video that, you know, honestly, it looked like I just rolled in from a big bar night or something. Like, you could tell I was wiped out or hungover, but I was not hungover. But I fought with this thing and tried like hell to get it done. But I have cooling issues. It slowly creeps up in temperature. It could be a number of things. So I'm going to change. I'm running a restrictor in this water neck. I've never had a problem running restrictors and things. Never. Honestly, I've had problems with vehicles running too cool, and I used to actually have to put a piece of cardboard in front of the radiator. But so this thing actually creeps up 215, 220, and doesn't take long. I mean, it doesn't like instantly run hot. You can drive it around a little bit, but it slowly creeps up. So being that this is a giant piece of cast iron and everything else I had was small block, some had aluminum heads, but they all had really good, really efficient coolant systems. 31 by 19 radiators, aluminum pumps, you know. So like nice electric fan shrouds with quality fans, not some hillbilly road sign fan shroud with $20 eBay fans. I'm not thrilled with those fans. I'm gonna change out the fans. I'm changing out the water pump, the pulleys. I'm gonna put a thermostat in this thing. I'm gonna add the bypass hose from the intake to the water pump, because that, from what I've read, could cause cavitation. It also helps the motor warm up quicker but not hurt it. I actually wondered about running that when I put this together. So I'm going to add the bypass hose back, slap in the thermostat, change the pulleys, change that water pump to an aluminum pump, and I'm pretty sure O'Reilly stocks a good, like a really good 12-inch fan. So I'm going to go snag that fan and replace one of these. But if the shroud design and the fan design aren't very efficient, then I don't have flow through the radiator, so that could be a problem. And it could be restrictor issues where I'm not slowing the water down. You got to slow the water down enough to where it absorbs heat in the motor, and it also has to slow down enough in the radiator so it dissipates heat. So if it's not doing either, then it's not giving it time to absorb heat and not giving it time to release heat. So that's where we're at. I'm going to work on cooling system and exhaust. And sadly enough, just couldn't make it. I mean, there was a list of things that had to happen to this, not to mention the list of things with my Suburban and trailer to get it ready
to tow that far. So it's not for the lack of trying, I can promise you that. And I actually even overnighted parts from Summit Racing Sunday night to be here Tuesday. Exhaust parts, because I could not deal with this exhaust. And then I didn't get to drive the car till Monday evening, and I didn't know about the coolant issue then until then. So yeah, it wasn't for the lack of trying, but you know, I'm just flat out of time and honestly flat out of money to spend on this thing at the moment. So I'm going to use up the rest of what I got parts wise, just continue on with it. I hate we didn't get to make it, just out of my hands, but I'm ready to be able to drive it. I'm ready to be able to drive it, get in it, and just go enjoy it. It was nice running it up the road though, I gotta say, even if it was a short drive. It is what it is. It's just stuff you just can't avoid, can't predict, you know. That's how it is with car stuff sometimes. You just never know. But with that being said, I'm gonna close out this video. And man, I certainly appreciate everybody's comments, following along, you know, rooting me on with this build. I hope I didn't let you down, because trust me, man, I wanted to go, you know. But I'll take what I can get, because being able to drive it up the road, man, I'm telling you, that's a victory right there. That to me, that right there, that was a win. The first drive up the road, that's a win. So Dad, that one was for you. You know, we made it about 20 feet before I revved her up and dumped the clutch a little bit. So, you know, ain't but one way to do that. So break it in, break it, whatever. Camera's going dead, and I got some other filming to do. So like I said, thanks for watching. Hope I didn't let everybody down, but man, we tried hard. But I hope you keep watching, you know, because the build is not done by far. I actually got some more stuff. Actually got some new parts for it yesterday. So, but again, you know, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and you know, go check out some of these channels that comment on these on my videos. You know, these guys are all worth watching. But hey, we didn't make it, but it is what it is sometimes. So, and that's a good lesson for, you know, people doing this for the first time. Man, you never know what you're gonna battle. So don't let that beat you up, because sometimes that's how it is. So, and until the next time, man, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage.